En inmensas caravanas andan por el mundo los fugitivos de la vida imposible. Viajan.
They travel from the south to the north and from rising sun to setting. They have been robbed of their place in the world. They have been dispossessed of their jobs and their lands.
Yeah, I think that before what I had was a lot of great information, and now I know the faces and the people that are behind those, statistics. So what I see here, what I've seen here, are just really beautiful people, and their families, and their parents who really are wanting to take good care of their children, and their children who are just wanting to play and have fun.
I enjoyed today using chalk on the wall with a little boy who spoke Portuguese. And then another little boy came who spoke Spanish, and we're all writing on the wall and describing a little bit of what we were drawing. That those connections are important, and I'm glad that I've made some, and they'll stay with me.
So, there's huge migration that's happening from Central America, South America, even Mexico to some extent. Some of it's related to climate change, some of it's related to political situations, but also there's a whole group of people that are just trying to get into the United States.
Casa Elitas is really about welcoming the stranger, giving food to eat, shelter, and just really ensuring that the dignity and humanity of each person is respected and, the focal point of all of our interactions.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be near people that are traveling and trying to seek a place where they belong and they can support themselves, hopefully, and appeal their case for asylum or their needs and their voices to be heard. And I'm happy to be part of that process and witness the journey and the hurdles that they will encounter on the way. Just to become sensitized to that has been valuable.
The Kino Institute's been there for a while there in Mexico, working with migrants and specifically food and shelter to some extent, as well as facilitating legal accessibility to get their papers in order to come to the United States. And that part of it we've sponsored as a community, is giving them some of the legacy funds.
I guess I expected massive people, because according to some of the TV programs, it was always like these hundreds coming over at one time. And that was one of my images I had that I had to correct, that there are people coming, but they're coming like 15 at a time or 19 at a time, or 2 or 3 buses coming in with that amount each day. So there are a lot, at Casa Elitas, we served like probably 70 to 75 breakfasts this morning. So there are people coming and moving through the system quite fast.
I did a little snapshot one night just looking up at their board of where people were coming from. And they were coming from Venezuela, Ecuador, Cuba, Haiti, Africa, Brazil.
I have pictures of girls' shoes with pink shoelaces and rows of shoes and underwear. And that's how I'm going to bring back the information. I'm going to tell the stories of the people that are receiving those. And that was a big part of what I did, because I was really sorting clothing and stocking clothing and putting together packets of clothing. I met some families, but not a ton of them, because this was important work too. But what I did as I went through each thing is I said a prayer for each person who was going to receive those. Each little girl who was going to be wearing the pink shoes with the pink shoelaces, or the ones that lit up when you walked on them. And so I'm going to take back the pictures that will help to provide the images that will help them see these beautiful people.
What is a typical day at Elitas? There are no typical days. We are all kind of fly by the seat of our pants, really. We've got times that the meals get served, and people, have scheduled shifts that sometimes run late, sometimes start late, but there's a drop-off happening in Nogales, Arizona. Immediately phone calls are being made and connections are being made, and how are we going to get these people here safely, and what will they need before they get here. Our role here is to receive people and ensure that our community is able to accommodate them, and I think that ICE and CBP Border Patrol recognize that that's the work we do.
What I know is people are suffering, and people are looking for some solutions to some very painful situations. And so that's how I view the whole issue of immigration, and also realizing that most of us are immigrants to the United States.
So we went with the Tucson Samaritans to put out water, and part of our job was to pick up garbage in the desert, and I think to observe the effects left by people. And when I picked up backpacks or bottles that they carried across the desert with water in them, we discussed what might have happened to that person, where they picked up and brought, across the border, or were they returned, or what, or are they now in detention? I saw this fabric. I knew it was Guatemalan, having been in Guatemala, and not only was it beautiful, and it just indicates the beauty and the gift of the people from Guatemala, but also, and that it's torn, it indicates to me the struggle of coming across the desert. So too, I wonder about her story or his story, and what significance it might have held, and where that person is now. Yeah, so it's a reminder to prayer.
Going to the border and going on the water drop, that was really one of those really sad days for me. If we can just even change the attitude that these are not all outlaws and drug carriers.
One of the things that really needs to be looked at is long-term volunteerism at the border, and how comfortable can you make that for people?
I think we are waking up to the needs of immigrants in our community.
I think for the greater community of La Crosse, and maybe the greater sister community across the U.S., just really helping everyone understand that there's a huge need.
I know that we can reach out to organizations that have contact with people who are refugees who are seeking asylum. It was compelling in a lot of ways. I think it pushes me a lot to not to sit still.
But I will say that I am so genuinely grateful for the sisters who came out and did this work. They have been remarkable and incredible volunteers here. And if they're, speaking for the group that's out there in Wisconsin that we might receive, we would be so gracious to receive you guys and have you, just help with our mission.